Hey there, this is Antonio Thompson, and I want to share a simple concept with you. If you understand it completely, it can change your financial future. We've all heard the saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And I have to say that this fact is actually very true. There is, however, a very good reason for this, and it has nothing to do with the rich being bad or evil and taking money away from the poor, as the saying sometimes implies. It has mostly to do with financial education and spending habits. So, in order to understand this better, you need to understand or know the difference between an asset and a liability. So, let's define assets and liabilities. Assets are anything that puts more money into your pocket rather than it taking it out. And a liability is anything that takes more money out of your pocket than it puts in. This means that if you own a home and have a mortgage, it is not an asset. That also goes for your car and other high priced items. Liabilities, on the other hand, are purchases that you pay for in order to get them, keep them, use them, or repair them. If you receive income from them by renting them to others and it does not exceed your expenses to maintain them, it is a liability. So let's say, for theatrical sake, that you bought a Mercedes Benz SLS AMG and it cost you around $200,000. It would never become an asset because you would continually take money out of your pocket even after you purchased it. Once you got around to selling it 5, 10 years later down the line, you would get less than your purchase price. Now, on the other hand, let's say you creatively financed and bought some investment real estate with your $200,000. And let's say you netted a cash flow of about $5,000 a month. That $5,000 in rental income could go towards financing that Mercedes. And even when it was time to sell the Mercedes, you would still have the cash flow. So, what do poor middle class people do? The poor middle class usually stay poor middle class because of their mindset and financial education. Once they get more money than they need for expenses, they usually spend it on liabilities. The energy, time, and labor from working for their money now effectively goes out the window and down the toilet. That money is never seen again. Here are some examples of purchases that the poor middle class make with excess funds. So, what do the wealthy do? Now, the wealthy purchase assets that create positive cash flow, portfolio, and passive income. Here are some examples: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, investment real estate, and businesses. Now, everyone has living expenses, the need for food, shelter, clothing, but what I'm trying to convey here is how cash flows through a poor, middle class, and wealthy person's life. It is the cash flow that tells the story of how a person handles their money. So, what characterizes poor households is that almost all of their earned income flows into the expense box. They struggle just to maintain a roof over their heads, food on the table, and a car in the driveway. They have just a little money to put in their liability box and no money for their asset box. The middle class are often the successful professionals in the community and are characterized as having medium to high incomes. But usually they also have very expensive lifestyles with a lot of stuff in their liability box. Although they are high earners, they often live paycheck to paycheck. Most of their cash flows from the earned income box down to the liability box as indicated in the picture. But the defining characteristic is the huge amount of stuff in their liability box, which drains a disproportionately high percentage of the earned income to both buy and support those liabilities. The second characteristic that you'll notice is that, much like the poor households, the middle class do not have money flowing into their asset box to generate passive income. This is a tragic domestic cash flow. Unlike the poor, the middle class do have options available to them, but every time they pull out their credit card or checkbook, they just keep choosing the wrong options. They choose to put their earned income or their earned money into liabilities instead of assets. As shown in the picture here, the wealthy have an asset box, and you now see a flow of earned income into that asset box. So not only do wealthy households have more money flowing out of the earned income box, but more importantly, they now have additional passive income being generated in the asset box. Although they have more stuff in their liability box, the wealthy use their passive income rather than their earned income to support these liabilities. Unlike the poor middle class, the wealthy have income generators in the asset box, which generate passive income that now can support their living expenses. Most importantly, flow back into the asset box to buy new income generating assets to continuously build wealth. So, what separates the wealthy from the poor middle class is this automatic feedback loop between the asset box and the passive income box. At some level, this feedback loop becomes self sustaining. The earned income box becomes unnecessary, and the household becomes truly financially independent. Think about it. Why would some CEOs take a salary of $1? Because they're getting passive or and portfolio income from an asset. So, final thoughts. So next time you are considering buying something that will just add more stuff to your liability box, consider putting your hard-earned money to work instead by using it to acquire an asset. Here are some ideas. Purchase paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Invest in real estate. Using real estate as an example, you can get a tenant who pays you rent, and that rent should cover the utilities, property taxes, insurance, along with paying down the mortgage. So you need to make a decision to take control of your financial circumstances. And in order to do so, you need to begin purchasing and acquiring assets. If you got value out of this video, like it, share it, comment on it. And if you want to be informed of when I'm going to do some trainings or webinars, I invite you to subscribe to my mailing list, which is at www.antoniorthompson.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.